Well, good morning. Welcome to Wake Up in the Word. Get your sword out this morning. Let's look at Psalm 52 as we wake up in the Word and see what His Word has to say for us today. I'm recording this on Thanksgiving Day of 2019. Don't know when you're watching it, but it's a beautiful day to give thanks unto the Lord, as this psalm will show us here in just a minute. Psalm 52, which is subtitled A Psalm by David, when Doeg the Edomite told Saul that David had come to Ahimelech's home. This is all about that tragic story in the Old Testament when David was running from Saul and finding a place of refuge in the home of the priest Ahimelech. Ahimelech kindly took David in, took care of him, even passed along to him Goliath's sword that was in his possession. When Saul heard of this, he was not a happy camper, and Saul wanted people to go and take out vengeance on the house of Ahimelech and the priest that served with him for taking in David. And his own leaders would not do that. They saw that this was wrong in the sight of God. But one decided he wanted to impress Saul and wanted to score some brownie points. That was Doeg the Edomite, who not only took out vengeance on Ahimelech, but he killed Ahimelech, all the priests serving with him. Numerous folks died there because they had supported David, who Ahimelech knew had been ordained already and anointed as the next king of Israel. So here's the person who decides it's, an opportunity. Opportunity knocks, and you need to go for it when it shows up. And he wanted to be Saul's hero and instead became God's evil, wicked villain that God would then attack. Be careful whose side you choose in an argument. If you choose the wrong side, you may be fighting against God. Now I'm going to read this psalm out of a version that I have not read yet in our study in the Psalms. God's Word translation. It's a very good, solid translation. But this morning I'm going to be reading out of the one that's called the Names of God Study Bible, which tells us the names of, in Hebrew, for example, in the Psalms, what name of God is used. And I think that's a very powerful illustration this morning. Verse 1, why do you brag about the evil you've done, you hero? Now that's obviously sarcasm, because Doeg was no hero, he was the goat. But he thought of himself as a hero in his own mind, at least a hero to Saul. So why do you brag about the evil you've done, you hero? The mercy of El lasts all day long. Your tongue makes up threats. It's like a sharp razor, you master of deceit. You prefer evil to good. You prefer lying to speaking the truth. You love every destructive accusation, you deceitful tongue. What a description of a terrible person who lets the ends justify the means and decides he will do anything, including lie to your face, to accomplish the task. Now, you've seen this take place in public discourse all around us here for the last few years. You see it take place on the world stage as well as here in the United States, and it may be happening to you personally around you. Folks like Doeg are all around us because evil abounds. But what does God think about this? El is that ultimate name for God that means He is the God above all gods. El and Elohim is how He's referred to in this psalm. It's found 2,111 times in the Bible, second only to Jehovah. What does God think about this? Verse 5. But El will ruin you forever. He will grab you and drag you out of your tent. He will pull your roots out of the world of the living. Righteous people will see this and be struck with fear. They will laugh at you and say, look at the person who refused to make Elohim his fortress. Indeed, he trusted his great wealth and became strong through greed. But I am like a large olive tree in Elohim's house. I trust the mercy of Elohim forever and ever. I will give thanks to you forever for what you have done. In the presence of your godly people, I will wait with hope in your good name. I don't know if you caught it, but there's 3 really good points of advice for us today when surrounded by the Doegs of life. Whether they're personally in your life or whether you just turn on the television and you see them on the news and watch their deceit and just want to scream as you're like, who's making this stuff up? How do you deal with these Doegs? Well, here's what you've got to do. First of all, recognize who you belong to. David said, I'm like a large olive tree in God's house, in Elohim's house. Recognize who you are. You belong to the Lord. That means nothing can penetrate His hand and get to you unless He allows it. Secondly, he says, I trust the mercy of Elohim forever and ever. Means I'm putting my trust in God regardless of what happens. I'm going to believe in Him. I'm going to walk with Him. And then, what do? You worship Him. And in that worship is the power for us to survive each and every day. Verse 9 says, I will give thanks to you forever for what you have done. And if you're reading that in another version, it might say, for example, the NIV there says, I'll give praise to you forever. Well, is this a contradiction? Is it a mistranslation? Is it praise or is it thanks? No, it's a Hebrew word that is used both ways. You'll see it in the Old Testament translated as either praise or thanks many times because it's talking about what we do when we worship the Lord, and both are true. You could have literally said, I will give praise and thanksgiving to you forever, and you would have been correct in translating that Hebrew word. That's a beautiful thing to do today. Again, if you happen to be watching this on Thanksgiving Day, isn't it a great day to give thanks to the Lord for how He providentially protected us and brought our nation into being? Or just the other things to give thanks for in your life. But it's not just for Thanksgiving Day, it's for each and every day that we put our faith and trust in the Lord for what He has done. And then finally, he says, in the presence of your godly people, I will wait with hope in your good name. Sometimes when attacked by the Doegs of life, the best thing to do is not the knee-jerk reaction to immediately and impulsively lash out. But sometimes the best thing to do is wait upon the Lord. Let Him direct you. Let Him direct your words. Think through things before you say them. Have you been like me? You see a Facebook post or something else or a Twitter feed and you want to impulsively say something. How many times have you seen people regret that? I had to take down that post. Too late now. It has gone around the world since you let it out. Today is far less forgiving when you say something that you shouldn't, or you speak quickly or rashly before you have thought it through. So friends, sometimes the best reaction is to do just what this verse says. In the presence of your godly people, wait with hope in the name of the Lord our God, and let Him direct you on a sure path and the sure words that need to come out of your mouth. Well, listen, I hope you have a great day in the Lord, and if you happen to be watching this on Thanksgiving, I hope you have a great Thanksgiving holiday. I look forward to coming back again with you tomorrow as we wake up in the Word and share again some truth from the Psalms. God bless you. You have a great day in Him.